So, Sumit, I know you hired a lot of people in your career in these different companies. What you look for in a candidate, if when you are interviewing somebody, and
Mhm.
the kids who are coming out of school and trying to apply to these companies, uh, what they should prepare for, anything different they should do, and
Yeah.
specifically more so, I think what you will look
Mhm.
for in a candidate.
Yeah, it's a good question. I've hired lots of people, hundreds of people in my career, and you know what works the best is, and again, I'm going to divide this question into two parts. One is when you're trying to hire somebody who's a developer, who's a software engineer, and then when you're hiring somebody who's an engineering manager. For software engineers, now we're going to talk about all the different levels, new grad and also a senior principal level engineer. You want to talk to them about, data structures and computer science, algorithm problems. But there is a platform nowadays where kids can practice called Lead Code, and you have a categorization of problems in easy, medium, or hard. As a manager, however, you have to also know about that platform. You have to also have a little practice on that one to be able to modify and tweak the questions that folks are preparing for. Because when you add that dynamic element into the question, that's when you really test the individual's capabilities in dealing with slight variation and ambiguity in the problem. If they maybe if they practice 10 questions that are medium, and you happen to ask exactly one of those 10 questions, they will know the answer, right? But if you modify that a little bit, add a slight change in it, can they tackle that as well or not, is this a question. I'll give you an example of that. You have a very basic question about doing a binary search or finding an element's index from a rotated sorted array, a sorted array which has been rotated. So now binary search can still be applied, but you have to modify that a little bit. And then how can you do that when it's in a matrix form? It's a 3 by 3 matrix and there are 9 extra element, and the whole thing spirals like that. So that way you have to be able to navigate in a spiral format instead of navigating linearly. Can you apply the same binary search algorithm on that to find the answer that you're looking for? And people might have some innovative approaches to tackle that. Some people will get bewildered by the question because they have never seen the question before. But you want to be able to look for those folks that can handle the new problems and use their raw intellectual horsepower to solve them, right? So that's one. And the second part of the questions that you're going to ask these individuals is going to be about systems design questions. And system design is basically software architecture questions. Building a new system, like you build a email marketing platform a long time ago when I was working with you, which was basically for mass communication via emails, texts, and
Yeah,
other.
I remember we were sending 5 to 20,000 email per minute,
Yeah, yeah. So
personalized email.
yeah, that's really cool, right? And again, nowadays it is a Twilio format. There's another set of platform products that do similar thing, right? My point was going to be that the way you design the system may not be exactly how the other people might design the same system. They may have a different approach to solving that distributed systems problem. So what you want to ask these individuals is how would they solve certain problems like that? How would they build a Zoom, for example, and be able to scale it to millions, billions of people? Maybe billions is a stretch, but still, lots of people linearly increasing that. Now, you want to be able to listen to how they would have solved this problem, and you also have to see whether they've just crammed it from somewhere. But the least experienced people really have not built many distributed systems, so they're not going to be super savvy in them. So you're going to give them some grace. But as the individuals, software engineers, are increasing in their levels, the ones that are interviewing with you, you're going to increase the percentage of systems designs questions and reduce the code questions for them. Now, these are the two questions which are really just objective, technical design or technical coding questions. But the third part is about these behavioral questions where they want to see whether they are really battle tested or not. You're going to give them some problem about a difficult scenario that happened in the office with them 2 3 years ago, or in the last year, last 6 months, and see how they reacted to that, how did they solve that problem. And these are real world problems. Here, you're not checking how you would solve a problem. You're really checking how did they actually solve the problem in the past. So there is often a technique used star for such scenarios is a situation, task, action, and result of whatever that actually happened. And when you're hiring engineering managers, you're going to focus a lot on those behavioral aspects than and also system design, but rather than asking a lot of coding questions, which they've done. They didn't become engineering manager right out of college, right? They also did a lot of development before. So that's how I will say, summarize on the interviewing approach: coding
Mhm.
questions, variation wise, systems design, and behavioral questions. For engineering managers, less coding, more system design, and a lot more behavioral set of questions.
Right. I think it's a very good tip about the star thing you said: situation, task, action, and result. Like what action you took and what was the result. So all your questions should be in the star format.
Correct. Answer should be in star format. Yes.
Yeah,
Correct.
very, very good. Yeah.